Do you know the number one thing that surprises engaged couples? Take a guess. The sheer amount of decisions they have to make while planning a wedding. Indoors or outdoors? How many guests? Are kids invited? Controversial. Which cake flavor? Seriously, how do you even begin to figure out what's right for you? That's where Zola comes in. Zola has everything you need to make every wedding decision a piece of cake, from choosing your dream wedding venue and vendors to deciding how to best spend your budget. With tons of customizable wedding websites, save the dates and invites, every detail will feel like you. Zola will even help you choose the gifts, experiences, and cash funds you really want. The next thing you know, you've planned your whole wedding all in one place. From getting engaged to getting married, Zola has everything you need to plan your wedding in one place. Start planning at Zola.com. That's ZOLA.com.
With the summer sizzle starting to fizzle, cooler heads are looking to lock in a wellness routine fit for the fall and beyond. Lucky for you, Ritual's high standards don't drop with the temperature. Fully committed to traceable science and sourcing, Ritual is shaking up the supplement industry with high-quality ingredients and scientifically developed formulas. With them, you know what you're taking, where it comes from, and why it's important. They've got every base covered, from their clinically backed Women's 18-plus multivitamin to groundbreaking options like stress relief and sleep melatonin, which both use first-of-its-kind bioseries technology designed to optimize formula delivery. And right now, for a limited time, get up to 40% off your first month at ritual.com/podcast.
Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am thrilled to have you join me on this transformative journey. You see, every day we dive into a powerful conversation about self-discovery, healing, and empowerment. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Nyomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, where we believe that loving yourself is the first step to living a fulfilling life. You can expect insightful discussions, practical tips, and inspiring stories. Plus, we'll occasionally welcome special guests who will share their unique perspectives on self-love and personal growth. So get comfy, grab your favorite beverage, and let's embark on this journey together. Because it's time to embrace the beautiful person that you are. So let's elevate our lives one episode at a time. Now let's get started. All right, my beautiful people. Well, welcome to the Season of Self-Love, your daily dose of inspiration and growth. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and my beautiful people, what a powerful week of transformation tools that we have explored. From art journaling with Susan, to understanding our brain potential with Martine's, to Alan's powerful journey of authentic success. But before we get into this topic, let's take a quick break, all right? It's your girl, Goddess Nyomi Banks here on the Season of Self-Love podcast, and we'll be right back.
Hey, this is Dog Pound Mike from Ask Nyomi Bridging the Gap podcast. Come check us out every week. And remember, I'm no relationship expert. I just tell it like I hear it from the kennel. Get back at it.
All right, well, welcome back to the Season of Self-Love podcast. This is your daily dose of inspiration. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and this is a wrap-up of a very powerful week that we have. But before we dive into, let's begin with our daily meditation. So if you can just find a comfortable space and take a deep breath in, just centering yourselves. I want you to feel the creativity within you, your capacity for change, and your power to transform. Breathe into possibilities, into your authentic expressions, into elevated awareness. Feel the wisdom and gathered through art, through understanding, and through experience. Take one final breath in, bringing all these gifts forward and ready to create our path together. Now, when you are ready, please open your eyes as we get into our topic at hand. All right, if you are new here to the Season of Self-Love, this is something that we do every day, Monday through Friday here on the Season of Self-Love. It's just to help ground us and center ourselves before we get into the topic at hand. All right, so you know what I love about this week is how it's shown us that elevation comes through so many doors. You know how Susan showed us how art journaling can silence our inner critic and tap into a deeper wisdom. And with Martine, she revealed on how understanding our brain can free us from old patterns, as well as Alan shared how our authentic success comes from balancing internal fulfillment with external achievement. So let's explore how these paths work together. So let's talk about Susan's gift with the creative expressions. And she talked about using art to process emotions, finding clarity through creativity, as well as making sense of life chaos. But also let's talk about our brain understanding from Martine's wisdom by her working with our mind's natural patterns and breaking free of our old programming and creating sustainable change. While Alan's journey taught us about authentic success by balancing internal and external growth while finding fulfillment through authenticity and creating sustainable elevation. In this segment, we're going to talk about practical integration. Family, let me share 3 powerful practices that bring together everything that we learned this week. I want y'all to remember how Susan showed us the power of art journaling and how Martine helped us to understand our brain patterns and how Alan revealed the path of authentic success. And let's weave all 3 of those together in practical ways, all right? One, let's talk about the creative release practice with daily application. We're going to call that the morning art check-in, where you draw an emotional state. So remember, as she said, grab a piece of paper, however you want to grab a piece of paper, and, crayons. So I'm using some crayons that I have, and just as I'm just, listening to music, as I do, and just circling. Well, actually just going around, and I'm doing a figure 8. That's all my hand is just doing, a figure 8. And my hand is just swaying to the music. That's all. It's just swaying to the music with each one of the colors that I use. And it's beautiful. It was soothing. It was something different. It was something truly different. But let me share 3 detailed practices that combine our guest wisdoms. Again, the creative release practice. I'm going to go with the morning check-in again and tell you with the drawing the emotional states and the colors that I use to represent my feelings. I used the red, the blue, and I used the yellow. And the shape that emerged, it was the 8. I kept using the 8 that kept coming around there. And it kept just going around, and I just felt complete, whole. I felt at ease. It felt at ease. And it was funny because I remember hearing Susan said about your anxiety. And when I did that, I felt very soothing. Very soothing. So it was great for me. So by the end of my drawing, I kind of understood where the anxiety was coming from. And it was just soothing. The music was playing. The funny thing is my eyes were closed. I was just swaying. I probably created something new with it. But it was good. And I said I would try it again. Next time I would try it with paint. I'm going to give me a nice little easel. And I think I might do that at least once a month. And then try to, spend some time, maybe 30 minutes, and do that once a month and try to bring that in there, So now let's talk about weekly integration, about creating an art journal spread for you for your week. As I said, that I'm going to do it a month. But look for patterns in your drawings and notice how your brain responds to different colors and track your authentic response. I noticed that I use blue on most of my peaceful days. I use yellow and gold. And gold is my yellow. That's my yellow is gold. All right, so now let's talk about understanding the process moment by moment practice. All right, so notice, so this morning when I did it, and it wasn't more, and I'm going to be honest, it wasn't about being triggered. It was more about doing the experience so I can share that experience with you all, sharing it this morning with you. So when I was to draw and doodle and was thinking about a trigger moment with my anxiety or whatever, I mapped out on how my body was feeling in the morning. So remember earlier this week when I talked about checking in with my body and seeing how my body feel. All this week, I've been working on DIY with my home and doing a lot of things with it. So my body has been a little bit overworked. So when I feel overwhelmed, I was drawing. I'm assuming that's where the figure 8 was coming from. And it was very soothing to me. Like I told you, I had the music on. And it helped to identify what was spinning in what needed to ground me in my body. And I kind of knew what it was beforehand, but it helped to soothe me. It was my shoulders. My shoulders and my lower back was one of the things that needed, help with the most. But it was helpful for me. And I think as I do it more and more, it will be better for me. It will be better for me doing this. But again, this is me trying Susan's art, doing her art thing. And like I said, I'm going to try a lot of these different things for myself to see what better helps me. And then I can better tell you how it does for me. All right. Create a visual map for your day. Use symbols of different experience. Color code your responses. Note patterns that you observe. Like I said before, I created symbols of different working situations and notice when I feel the most authentic. That figure 8 was the most authentic to me. That is all that I did today. That is what, come from me, the affinity. That was me today. I don't know what if I come back next week or next month and do it. I don't know what it will be. I don't know if it's going to be a connection with the music or what it's going to be, but that's where we're going to go with it right now. All right. All right. So now we're going to talk about the success of integration in morning practice. So we're going to define the version of success. We're going to create a visual representation and check alignment with values. So we're going to plan authentic actions. For example, I draw my goals rather than just listing them. Then my evening review, and we're still talking about Susan's thing. Art journal, your achievements, note where you felt authentic, track your brain adaptation, celebrate small wins. Example, I created a success mandala each evening. All right, so what I just gave y'all, the spiel that I was just giving y'all just a few minutes ago, just an example on how you can kind of integrate them all practically in there. So I was just sharing 3 practices that combine those approaches from Alan, from Martine, and from Susan. And one, I'm going to tell you what they were. With the creative release practice, one, it was journaling your feelings artistically. That was one. Noticing the brain patterns emerging. That came from Martine. And checking the alignment with authentic self. That was from Alan. So the example is when I feel stuck, I draw my emotions. So now let's talk about understanding the process. That's another thing that I talked about in there. So what I did was I mapped my brain response, as well as I expressed insights from creativity, and I checked for authentic alignment. For example, I noticed patterns through colors and shape. Remember I said the figure 8, the infinity. The color was blue. And then assess integration. I define authentic achievements, create visual representation, and track brain adaptation. My success include inner peace. Remember that I said I felt very soothing and smooth and at peace after I had my music playing while I was swaying and playing the figure 8. the affinity as I was doing it, right? So that is something that I was able to do this morning that I implemented within the other practices that I was doing. And like I said, I'm going to try to do that once a month and maybe add more and more as I continue to go on. But it's something that you all can do. And if you missed anything, let me know, email me, and I'll definitely send it out to you if you need any more. All right. So before we close today, let's create what I call an elevation map. Yes, an elevation map, combining all three approaches. We're going to say center one, your current state, okay? Then we're going to have an inner ring. So we got the center, that's your current state. Draw a circle. Then we're going to say the inner ring. That's the creative expression. And then there's a middle ring. That is your brain pattern. And then we're going to do an outer ring. That is your authentic success goals. Then we're going to do connection lines with action steps. All right? Now remember, family, elevation isn't about forcing change. It's about finding your authentic path and walking it with creativity and understanding. So this week has been an amazing week of amazing guests. It has been challenging, for my body and everything else in doing, but also now I'm in the process of changing my paradigm. I've been reading this book, Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life by Bob Proctor, and I have implemented it into my daily life as well as in our program here at the Season of Self-Love, as well as some of the things and courses that I'm doing over there at Elevate Me Self-Discovery. And in the process, I have a little name for my old paradigm. It's called Miss Perry. That's my old paradigm, Miss Perry. And sometimes Miss Perry shows up and I have to go tell Miss Perry to go sit down over there in the corner. Because sometimes it's, triggering moments happen. But I want to say this, especially those that had joined me in the 10-day book challenge that are still in the process of still listening to the book as well as I am and have committed to themselves for the next 60 days of listening to them on their own with their accountability partner. Have grace with yourself. Have compassion with yourself. Understand that this is a day-to-day, a moment-to-moment challenge that you are having. The one thing that you have done is you have chosen to change. You have chosen to commit to change. You made that decision. You made that decision. The second thing that you have done is you understand the visual of what you are doing. You are understanding what your paradigm is. That is how you are aware and know. Like I call mine Miss Perry. And whatever else you call your old paradigm, name it. And then the third one is your discipline. Your discipline is because you've been listening to this book or you've been reading this book every day for 30 minutes. And you've been accountable. And I know because several different people have been either DMing me or emailing me with either questions or just comments about, have I been triggered? Or I've been triggered, Nyomi. And it's going to be a common thing. As Bob Proctor say, when that switch, sometimes that switch go off. All right? It does that because you're human. Switch it back on. Get back on. And go with it. That is all. That is all. Y'all got this. Y'all got this. All right, my beautiful people, thank you all for just sharing this powerful week of transformation with me. And as we move into our holiday week, I want you to remember that every tool that we've gathered supports our continued elevation. But until Monday, remember to love yourself first. This is Nyomi Banks, and you're listening to the Season of Self-Love. Next week, we're going to preview. Join us next week for a special holiday episode as we celebrate elevation. Have an amazing weekend. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery and empowerment here at the Season of Self-Love podcast. Remember, embracing self-love is a continuous journey, and we're so glad to have you with us. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review. And don't forget to join our community on Facebook at Season of Self-Love. Connect with like-minded individuals who are also on their self-love journey. Now, if you have any questions or topics that you'd like for us to explore, we love to hear from you. Email us at seasonofselflove@gmail.com and let your voice be heard. So until next time, take a moment for yourself today and remember, you are worthy of love, joy, and all the beautiful things that life has to offer. Have a good one.
With the summer sizzle starting to fizzle, cooler heads are looking to lock in a wellness routine fit for the fall and beyond. Lucky for you, Ritual's high standards don't drop with the temperature. Fully committed to traceable science and sourcing, Ritual is shaking up the supplement industry with high-quality ingredients and scientifically developed formulas. With them, you know what you're taking, where it comes from, and why it's important. They've got every base covered, from their clinically backed women's 18-plus multivitamin to groundbreaking options like stress relief and sleep melatonin, which both use first-of-its-kind bioseries technology designed to optimize formula delivery. And right now, for a limited time, get up to 40% off your first month at ritual.com/podcast.
Hey guys, it is Ryan. I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I'm a bit of a fun fanatic when I can. I like to work, but I like fun too. And now I can tell you about my favorite place to have fun. Chumba Casino. They have hundreds of social casino style games to choose from with new games released each week. You can play for free and each day brings a new chance to collect daily bonuses. So join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.